Hey guys, Watomarmelon back here again with another Market Watch. Today's is going to be for August 24th. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I'm excited to be back. There's been a lot of bonus bucks. The last two Fridays, they've had bonus bucks. I've been buying on there. I do have TCG Player Premium, which is a interesting service. I'd recommend it if you do buy a lot of cards. It's just not worth it if you don't buy a lot of cards because it is quite expensive at I think it's $7 or $8 per month. The access to bonus bucks for 10% is worth it for me. But other than that, I wouldn't say it's really that worth it if you don't buy a lot on TCG Player. Regardless, we want to talk about the cards because there's some interesting stuff that I wanted to talk about. The first are going to be sort of these virus cards that they have. The first being Eradicator Epidemic virus. I actually don't own any of the Eradicator Epidemic virus. You see one at like 42, and then it starts going up for lightly played. We can start seeing some near mints at around 80 and unlim. Near mint first edition German at 120. And then if you want an English one, you're going to be looking at some pretty insane price points. I've always wondered why the other GX secret rares that I thought were pretty desirable, pretty collectible, and this one's somewhat playable. I've always wondered why they didn't perform as well as the Gladiator's Assault secrets. I understand that there are just so many more Gladiator's Assault secrets. However, I don't know. I think that certain sets really get hyped up. Gladiator's Assault secret rares were synonymous with collectability, but now people are starting to branch off and realize that, other sets have really incredible collector rares, or not collector rares, excuse me, really incredible collectibles. And specifically GX secret rares are pretty interesting. And so Force the Breaker, as you can see, has 9 of them. Many of them are really cool. I mean, the only one that I don't think is actually that cool is the Sword of Dark Rites. And it's still not the worst card. Actually missed Archfiend. Not a huge fan of either. But Lich Lord, King of the Underworld is one of my favorites. Obviously, Volcanic Rocket's interesting, and Epidemic Virus is interesting. But if you look at the other ones, these are really cool cards. I actually have a Plague Wolf in SGC 10. You've got Recurring Nightmare, which is a really cool one. These are ones that I'm looking to pick up, especially if the Unlimiteds become cheaper for lightly played. So next up, we have Crush Card Virus. We're going to be looking at both of the major, versions of this card, being the first one being the Gold Series 1 version. You can see you can get a lightly played for 85, although Yada's Crypt, I don't really like that seller. I haven't had the best. Every time I buy a lightly played card from them, some or all of the corners are folded. So keep that in mind. Then near mint, you have them at 190, which isn't too bad. It's a pretty iconic card. It was super short printed within Gold Series, but you can compare it to the Duels Pack Kaiba version, which if you look at, you can find near mint unlims for 27, although I'm sure if we go to first editions, those are going to be, you can start finding them at around 126. I obviously think the first edition, or the first print Gold Series 1 version is very interesting because of how iconic it was as a prize card reprint that was really short printed in Gold Series, is the first Gold Series. But in terms of aesthetic appeal, I think that the Ultimate Rare kind of blows it out of the water. Specifically, the first edition is just so nice looking. Speaking of first edition Ultimate Rares that are quite beautiful, this one is also extremely expensive. I mean, you can really look at this sort of explosion in price of Dex Devastation Virus. I believe that's due to it being quite playable, and there aren't many copies of this card out there in Ultimate Rare. So because it was printed 2005, so 17 years ago at this point in time. You can see lightly played first editions are 240, 250, and then near mint unlim 270. Near mint first edition is, I don't even know. It's just, you can get a DSG 8. My experience with DSG is that I don't know. I don't really trust their grades that much. I bought one DSG card to crack it. I cracked an 8.5. I thought it was probably a PSA 8, but I've seen some other ones that were very clearly off center, and what you can see is that if you want a verified seller for near mint first edition, besides this DSG8, it's going up $450, $500. I mean, it's kind of crazy what people are paying for this stuff. Although you can see that the last sale was for 400, so I'd be very surprised if someone spent more than 400 with this DSG8 right there. But nonetheless, very beautiful card. But is it worth this sort of price point? For me, I'd rather get the Crush card first edition Ultimate Rare from Duelist Back Kaiba for 125, because to me that's a more iconic card than Deck Devastation, although a very cool card nonetheless. It's so much cheaper. Next up, we have some Champion Pack. I don't really look at Champion Pack that often, but this is a card I actually recently picked up, and I love Wave Motion Cannon. It's just a really, really cool card. And you can get Champion Pack 5 Super Rares in near mint for $80, although it goes on up after that. Here's a PSA 10 from Card Rush for $1,000, although I'm pretty sure you can find them for like a couple $100 on eBay in PSA 10. Scapegoat's an interesting card. You can see that the 3-month doesn't look so good. Specifically, you can see that once people realized that it was going to be printed in collector rare, it's really kind of taken a nosedive. We can look at sales. It was 70s, 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 but it's starting to go down to 65 very quickly. I think people are looking at the collector rare, really like the foiling on that, and then are dumping their ultimate rares. You can see lightly played. I mean, after shipping, this is about 69, but you can see that the ultimate rare near mints are a little under 70. And so it begs the question, Scapegoat's one of the most iconic cards, specifically because of GOAT format. Even if you don't play GOAT format, I feel that Scapegoat has become a pretty iconic spell card from the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. I think the ultimate rare looks beautiful, especially if you can get Europrint versions of it. I have a playset of Europrints, and they look phenomenal. But the collector rares, I've said collector rare is my favorite rarity of all the modern stuff. I tend to like collector rares, and I've heard that the foiling for this newest set is quite good, and so who knows. I would suspect that the collector rare is probably going to be a $40 card, and people who were selling this to pick up the collector rare, I imagine that, it might continue going down, it might not. With these OTS packs, I don't know what the print runs what the print runs are for these cards. So it's a bit hard to know how many of these ultimates there are. And so I don't know. You can see there are 5 pages of these Scapegoat ultimate rares. I mean, and tons of sellers have multiples. We have one with 17 lightly played copies. I get that it's a newer OTS pack, so, or I guess 8, I think we're at like 14, 15, something like that now. Actually, no, we're even farther than that, but regardless, it's not like a crazy old card. It's not like Astral Pack or something like that. So who knows where Scapegoat will end up. I always like to look at Ghosts from the Past because I'm just kind of mind blown with how low these cards have gone. It's just, people are just selling these things for essentially nothing. And the sealed product, it's still very plentiful at pretty low price points. You can see that its market price got down to low 50s. You can still pick them up for essentially nothing. I mean, it's simply unlucky as 31. I think those are the packs just taken out of the boxes, so you can ship it for less, but you can get it unopened from other sellers for $60. It's just, I don't know. It's pretty impressive how much Ghost from the Past has fallen with such an incredible line of Ghost rares. I mean, I think it was just pre-ordered and printed to oblivion, which never helps. But also, I think print quality makes it so that people are a little bit less interested in purchasing things from from a site that doesn't have pictures of each card. And then also, I just think that there was too much going on with this set. I mean, the question of whether a set can be too loaded, well, here you go. They made pulls easier, and they loaded up the set beyond belief and then printed it to oblivion. I mean, will this stuff ever go up? Who knows? I just think there's such an uphill battle for it to fight. against because of how many of these cards there are. But, if something's going to be eaten up in collections over time, I imagine a Ghost Rare Blue Eyes, a Ghost Rare Dark Magician Girl, a Ghost Rare Cyber Dragon. These are cards that are going to be eaten up over time, but it might just be that the supply is so damn high that, it doesn't matter. All I've seen is these cards just continue to go down. And even when I think there's some sort of bottom, it does kind of look like we're starting to plateau right here and bottom out. But, man, I don't know. It's not looking great. You can see that there are cards for 150, so who knows? It doesn't look great for Ghosts from the past two, but you never know what will happen. Next up, we have a Starlight Rare DD Crow. Something that I have been surprised with is how strong Starlight Rares have performed. I think I underestimated how few of these things there are just because they're so damn hard to pull, even from a set like Rise of the Duelist. I get that this was a little bit short printed. This was back when printing was done during COVID, but who knows? It's surprising to me how many of these things are selling. I understand this is a popular hand trap in the current format, and you can see that there are tons of people buying this card at once, which I guess leads me to believe that there are people with stacks of these things. And that's always the fear with modern cards, especially modern cards that are valuable, is that there are people with binders full of these things, and as soon as the card stops being playable, people are not going to really view it as a collectible, and it's just going to plummet in price because there are people with stacks of them that eventually are going to get tired of waiting to sell them. So, who knows? Next up, we have Pot of Duality out of Astral Pack 5. This is a really cool looking card, but you can see it's not really performing that well. I understand that you can still play this card, but it's kind of hit its peak and it's starting to go back down. It might be something that's format dependent, but you can see that lightly playeds are at 220 and then near mints are, 244. So, cool looking card. Who knows what that will end up. And then lastly, or where that will end up. And then lastly, we have an eBay listing for a PSA 10 Gem Mint Ultimate Rare Armed Dragon level 10. It does have like a white dot somewhere. A lot of the time with these PSA cards, in my experience, and I've cracked a lot of these things, I've graded with them myself, it's just, actually on this channel, I've posted a recent PSA return. It's just, you're just trying to hit a grader that's more lenient. You're not actually trying to submit some pristine card, because a lot of the cards are not going to be perfect. Almost, okay, so OTS 15, yeah, so we're probably on OTS 18 by now, but you're not going to find truly perfect cards very often. So you're more so just waiting to try and get some grader that's pretty lenient, and then you hit a bunch of these 10s, and then that's how you make your money. But I'm interested to see where this card will end up. This is a card that got really, people did not like the print quality of this card, and also the foiling of it just didn't hit if it wasn't Europrint. So we'll see where it ends up. This is an interesting card because of how coveted the Armed Dragon level 7 is. I understand it's much, much rarer, but who knows. Regardless, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys do enjoy, as always, make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, so it'd be pretty awesome to hit that. I know I haven't been posting on this channel, but hopefully I'll post a bit more. It's just the market wasn't really doing a ton of stuff, and I was kind of busy, so I decided to not post. But it's been your boy Watomarmelon, and peace out.